I'd like to say thank you to everyone for coming back from lunch. It's the graveyard slot, isn't it? Quite renowned. Okay, so I'm Susanna Lawson. I'm co-founder and director of OneFile. We're an e-portfolio provider in the apprenticeship market. Apprenticeships are about 69% of all of our business, which we're extremely proud of. So I didn't want to come up here. Lindsay said I get a slot being a headline sponsor, and I said, well, I didn't really want to speak about me or OneFile for 20 minutes. So what I've got is I've got one of our customers, Yvonne, from North Bristol NHS, to come and talk to you about health and social care in the NHS from how she sees it. But I was just going to give a little bit of background because we talked a lot this morning about Generation Y, Generation Z. My son is 6 years old, and he came to me the other day and said, Mummy, I want to be a YouTuber. And I was like, oh, wow, that's great, son. And he said, I've looked in the Argos catalogue and I've picked out my office furniture. So I was quite impressed by that at 6 years old. That's not bad going. But he did also say, I've done my research and I can't have an account until I'm 13. So, you know, he's showing a bit of initiative there. So I went out on Saturday night with 4 friends. I hope this picture comes up. There we are. And I have known these girls, or ladies, for about 18 years. So as I mentioned, we've talked this morning about Generation Y, Generation Z. We're Generation X, and we're proud of it. So when we met 18 years ago, we were working in a home with ladies with learning disabilities, and we supported them with their everyday living. I came out of university with a degree. I knew that I wanted to work with people and help people, but I was never really advised how that would happen in a vocational way, and I was always advised to do A-levels and a degree. So I came out of university and said, what do I do now? So when I went to go and work, I started off in an agency. I worked in nursing homes, and I worked in hospitals as a support worker and healthcare assistant, and then I went to go and work in the NHS, and this is where I ended up working with these 4 ladies that I supported and these 4 wonderful ladies here. So I just wanted to share with you our story, because 18 years on, where are we all now? We all started on our level 2 together in care, and then we went on to promoting independence, if anybody remembers that old school back in the day. So I'm there. Oh, back again? No, there. I'm there, and I'm obviously now director of a software company, which I never in my wildest dreams thought I would be doing. But like I say, the background is in apprenticeships, and that's why we created OneFile, to make efficiencies and increase quality in the apprenticeship delivery. The lady there on the right is Sophie. She is now an apprenticeship assessor and IQA for creative support, one of the largest social care providers in the country. And she has trained and assessed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of the new generations of carers and support workers. The lady on the top right, Lisa, she went back to uni after doing her level 2 and level 3, and she's now a social worker in adult care in Greater Manchester. The lady in the middle is Tricia. She is now a manager of 2 homes in the community, looking after adults with learning disabilities. And the lady on the left is Becca, and she went into childcare services, and she now manages 2 children's homes in Manchester. So we all came from similar beginnings in social care. We all started doing our level 2, and 20 years on, we're still working in the field of training and assessment and support, and working in social care sectors, which I'm extremely proud of. And then just one last slide of another lady that I want to introduce you to. This is Keely Hassack. So we talked about this morning about people coming from deprived areas. Keely knocked on the door that I was manager of. She'd been told at school that she probably wouldn't come to very much. She should go into care work. And she came as an 18-year-old. She came from the Wythenshawe estate, which I don't know if many of you know Manchester. It's one of the biggest council estates in Europe. She hardly said boo to a goose. She was extremely shy, extremely introverted, and I persuaded her ultimately to work towards her level 2, and I became her assessor for her level 2. We then developed her confidence, and she went on to her level 3. I actually left the NHS at that point to go and work for a private training organisation, but we hadn't yet finished her level 3, so we requested that I could come back at weekends and evenings to finish off her assessments, which we did. She was so proud of herself when she got her level 3. A few years later, she applied to Manchester University, and she managed to get onto a mental health nursing degree, and that was her graduating. And then on this side, we've got her lovely daughter, Lauren, and one of the proudest days of my life was when she asked me to be Lauren's godmother. So what I'm trying to say is, we're in a sector which affects so many people. What we do now, all the training and the delivery that you guys do, it's affected all of our lives. I had an amazing assessor, and it's enabled people to go on who were told there would be nothing at school to go on and become a mental health nurse, which is absolutely incredible. And she's now a nurse manager of an award in Manchester, Wythenshawe Hospital herself. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is welcome Yvonne. We're going to be around, obviously, for the next couple of days. If there's anything you want to chat to us about, I'm on the panel. Tom, who is talking tomorrow, has asked me to be on the panel about US apprenticeships as well. I'm back tomorrow lunch as well. She'll be sick of the sight of me by the end of tomorrow, but that's why I thought I'd get some of our customers to come up and talk to you about their experiences. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I probably am a short person for presenting this. My name's Yvonne Greenwood. I'm the Apprenticeship Lead and Quality Assurance Manager at North Bristol NHS Trust. I just wanted to go through and share a little bit about journey and where we've come from and where we're heading to, really. So North Bristol NHS Trust is a large acute teaching hospital. We have approximately 9,500 staff. So we are one of the largest teaching hospitals in the southwest. We've got a really comprehensive research innovation department. We've got a number of regional specialist centres. And our Learning and Development Department hosts one of the National Skills Academy for Health Excellence Centres. Why we went into apprenticeships, I mean, a lot of you will recognise these triggers. We've got a very ageing workforce, and in 2014, we were moved from 2 individual hospital sites into one. So we're one of the NHS hospitals with a rather large mortgage. And we have, within that hospital move, we had to create new roles. We also had some areas which might have redeployment issues, upskilling, and lots of different workforce challenges. We also had to succession plan for the future. Everyone knows healthcare is changing, and we needed to start to look at how, our healthcare support workers and other unregistered staff for the future, and how were we going to bring those people into careers in the NHS. We already have a really established work experience programme in the Trust, and we work really closely with local schools, colleges, and all our Trust staff are ambassadors going out and supporting people in the community with CV writing, mock interviews at schools and careers events and things. So again, like everybody else, we had the large global challenges around funding, economic, climate. As everyone knows, the NHS is under a lot of pressure to do more for less, and growing expectations of society as a whole. The local challenges, in particular with the new hospital build. We now have state-of-the-art facilities, but at the time we were looking to have to reduce our workforce by 25% to be able to move into those facilities. We had, I think, probably 1, maybe 2 people who were 16 to 18 within our workforce numbers. So we really had to make a concerted effort to encourage more young people into the NHS. And we had to challenge a lot of views around what careers and what opportunities are out there for young people. When in my generation, I was very much under the impression that the NHS was a career for life, and I come from a family who have got sort of nurses, doctors and whatever in the family, and we very much saw the NHS as an ideal employer. That is changing, and people tend to not think about careers in the NHS or don't really understand what careers there are available in the NHS for people. So how we made it work for us, we took a slightly different view of apprenticeships. A lot of our managers were really concerned about employing young people, especially 16 to 18-year-olds in healthcare roles. So we dedicated some resource, and decided to look at, could we use it slightly differently? So rather than people having to feel that they had to give up a post to employ an apprentice. We wanted to use the apprenticeship frameworks as a standard around our development of our unregistered workforce. So as people were recruiting into posts, we looked at the skills, knowledge and experience that those people had and worked out what else do they need. And if they needed a full apprenticeship, then that's what we decided to offer them. So we've gone a long way, and we're now a employer and a training provider. So we've been delivering our own apprenticeships in health for the last 8 years. We've now got all our apprenticeships embedded in with our workforce plans, particularly for the future. And it's allowed us to develop much more career pathways in areas such as diagnostic imaging support, support services, housekeeper roles, as well as finance, payroll, and healthcare support workers. We also became part of a partnership of small training providers called SWAPPRO, which is the South West Association of Training Providers. So when we went through the register of approved training providers, they brought out minimum contract sizes, and of course we fell below that. So a number of us got together, and we've got a very unique model to enable us to deliver our apprenticeships. It does mean that we've developed a split personality, so we have all the challenges of being a large acute NHS trust, as well as the challenges of being an education provider as well. And I think it certainly has led to quite a few key learning things like, oh dear, now we've got another Ofsted visit, as well as things like financial audits from the government and all that sort of stuff. So we very much appreciate how training providers and FE colleges feel, as well as large employers like ourselves. The partnerships also allowed us to support our GP practices in the local area and deliver healthcare apprenticeships for them, and also business admin. And one of our key developments really was moving from the old paper-based system to an electronic portfolio. As an organisation, we had an established vocational centre, and it's something we kept looking at, but you know, like everything else in sort of a large company, trying to build a case to actually move and bring something new and innovative in is quite difficult to do. Particularly at that time, we were moving into the new hospital, and the Trust was very keen to try and save money as opposed to spending money. So we had a look around at a lot of different e-portfolios, and one of our partners in SWAPPRO also uses OneFile. It gave us a chance to actually have a real good look at it, and for the first time we thought, fantastic, we actually know where all our learners are. We've not got paper portfolios in carrier bags that people are sort of walking around the hospital with to drop in ready for the EV visit and all sorts of things. It's allowed us to track our learners, to be able to monitor caseloads, to be able to build cases for staffing, and it's helped us through 2 EV visits now. I have to say, as the largest partner in our partnership, we had our Ofsted visit last year, and I think we had the inspector for 2.5 days, which was an interesting experience. And actually having OneFile enabled us to just sit there with the inspector in front of a computer, and she could just pick at random learners that she wanted to look at, the feedback we were giving under the teaching, learning and assessment stuff. So it's allowed us to be more innovative with our learners and to bring in lots more resources, improved our assessment planning with them, and reporting mechanisms for all our quality assurance processes. So in terms of the future, where do we go now? I mean, as a large employer in the South West, we have been involved in the Trailblazer groups. Colleagues have been part of the employers looking at the level 2, 3 and 5 healthcare standards. That's caused us some challenges in terms of actual time commitment to be able to deliver on those. And with the launch of the new healthcare standards from today, we are working really closely with within the Trust with all our managers on how we're going to deliver that for the future. We've also been working the last few years with our higher apprenticeships in partnership with our local university and college. And one of my colleagues is actually on the national group looking at the degree nursing apprenticeships. In terms of endpoint assessment, I think we share everybody else's concerns about that and how that's going to work. Traditionally, healthcare support workers have never really had to sat exams and things, or have conducted interviews and stuff. And there is a concern that actually people are coming into apprenticeships because they don't want an academic route, and actually that's almost where they're going to end up. So we've got to manage that and help support our learners through that. Public sector target and the levy, well, we'll try and gloss over those. You know, we are fully aware because of where we are as a trust. However, it's our education department that are supporting our finance department and our HR department to understand what that actually means for us. I think the next 6 to 12 months is going to be really interesting. I have to say I'm not really looking forward to managing 4 different funding streams for 300 learners. That I think I might be booking a few more hairdressing appointments. But you know, those are going to be huge admin processes that we're going to struggle with, because as a trust, if we need extra staff, we have to put in a business case like a lot of people do. But given the financial pressure on the NHS, that's going to be quite hard for us. So we're doing our best to try and plan as much as we can for that now. In terms of our levy pot, that's 1.2 million. Our trust has been through their whole process of do we give it up as a tax or do we want to continue with it, and they very much want to continue to develop people within the trust and within care and health apprenticeships. Just going to finish off by just sharing some of our apprenticeships with you. The 3 ladies in the top left-hand corner are maternity care support worker apprentices who completed their level 3 2 years ago, all working within the trust. The young lady and the gentleman at bottom right, Keelan is actually started as a 17-year-old apprentice doing his level 2 in business admin in the projects office for the new hospital. He's now completed his level 4 last year and is going out into the private sector to expand his career opportunities. Becky, who's the other side of him, completed her level 3 when she was working in GP practice in the community, is in the process of completing her level 5 higher apprenticeship assistant practitioner with us, but she's doing it as a practice development teacher in our team, supporting other apprentices at level 2 and level 3. And then the group in the centre are a range of apprentices who started at lots of different levels, pathology, business admin, and Lynn, who doesn't mind me saying that she was probably our oldest apprentice when she started her level 2, and she was in her early 50s. I am still trying to get her as an assessor, but she keeps avoiding me at the moment. Okay. And just finally, I just wanted to share really, this is Debbie. She's quite a unique person, really. She came to the UK when she was 14, worked with us as a domestic, and then started a level 3 qualification at a local college. To enable her to carry on with that, she continued to work with us on the bank as a healthcare assistant and in domestic roles. She completed her level 5 higher apprenticeship with us and is just about to qualify as a registered nurse. So we're really proud of her and everything that she's achieved, and she's been a fantastic ambassador for us in the trust. We also have another gentleman who was runner-up in the Health Education England Star Awards last week. He's a gentleman with an engineering background who, after working with learning disabilities people as a volunteer, decided to go into healthcare. And he's now completed his level 5 and is just about to start his adult nursing qualification. So I think there's a lot of scope for roles in the NHS for people. And like everyone else has said earlier on, I think we just need to get the information out there about what career opportunities there are in healthcare and health and social care as well, because I think we are missing a trick for a lot of young people. and that's just part of the atrium of our new hospital. Thank you.